did not treat her neighbors well. He said, لا خير فيها هي في النار. There is no good in her. She will be in fire. There's no good in her. Even though she prayed at night, yes. She prayed at night. So what? As long as she does not have good manners, then she'll be in hell. This is what he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in Bukhari. لا خير فيها. There is no good in her. There is no good in her. هي في النار. You know, we know about the prostitute who was forgiven because of giving water to a dog. We know also about the man who was forgiven for the same reason. And we know also about, do you remember that woman who tied a cat until it died? She didn't give her food or didn't let her go to and eat. She'll be in hell. This is what Rasulullah said, right? And so, you know, Rasulullah said, Man al-muflis, adadruna man al-muflis. Do you know who's the bankrupt? And they said the bankrupt amongst us is the one who does not have dirhaman wala dinar. Is the one who does not have any money. He said, no, the bankrupt amongst my people is the one who comes on the day of judgment with mountains of good deeds. Mountains of good deeds. You know, he prayed, he gave sadaqah, he prayed at night, but he also insulted this person and called this one names, and then he lied, and then he did this, and he did that. And all his victims will come on the day of judgment, and they will take their rights from him. And he will have nothing left, and then he'll be thrown in hell. This is what Rasulullah said about the muflis, the bankrupt. You know, so morals, having good manners, very, very important in this religion. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent to perfect the good manners. So some people sometimes they say, what if I have a flaw? How can I work on to get rid of it? Imam al-Ghazali, for example, in Ihya, he said 3 things you should do. Number one is to go to a wise man, a sheikh or a scholar, or just a wise man, and to ask him, you know, advice. Number 2 is to appoint a good friend, you know, a good friend. Appoint a good friend to watch over you. And when he sees you doing something wrong, he will remind you. He will remind you, well, you did this and you did that. So next time you make sure that you don't do it. And the third is, as Rasulullah said, Al-mu'minu mir'ati akhi, that you should learn from the mistakes of people. You see someone is acting inappropriately, then learn from it. Don't put yourself in a situation like that. And as we said last week, to add a 4th one is to, for 40 days, some people sometimes are afflicted with lying or backbiting. Just for 40 days, you know, make sure that you do not get up in the morning, you just, you know, you make a promise that you will not get involved in any of these acts. You know, you're not going to backbite anybody. You're not going to lie. You're not going to insult anybody. You're not going to cause disorder, namima between people for 40 days. You know, and if something happens, start again. And this is really a practice of some of the tabi'een, and it works. It really works. All right. So today is breaking promises. So he said, فَإِيَّاكَ أَن تَعِدْ بِشَيْءٍ إِلَّا وَتَفِي بِهِ. He said, beware of ever promising something and then not keeping your promise. You know, just don't make a promise. Really, just do it. So if somebody, for example, you found somebody here in the morning and he was looking for somebody to give him a ride at night somewhere, don't say, hey, brother, I will give you a ride tonight. Just show up and do it. Because something might happen. You don't know. You can promise him, I will promise you I will come in the morning, inshallah, or I come at night, I'll give you a ride. And then all of a sudden you're not. Something happened to you. Right? And so don't promise. Just do the act. Just do the act. But if you promise, make sure that you fulfill your promise. Make sure you fulfill your promise. How many promises we actually heard from people? How many promises? How many promises we made to our spouses, our kids, our parents, and how many promises do you hear in the media from politicians? How many promises, and how many of these promises are actually fulfilled? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Oh believers, don't say things that you don't do. It is the most hated before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to say something that you don't do. And He said in the Quran, يا أيها الذين أوفوا بالعقود. Oh believers, fulfill your promises. Fulfill your promises. And if you look at who is the best to fulfill His promise? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran about this? وَمَنْ أَوْفَى بِعَهْدِهِ مِنَ اللَّهِ.